All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call I'm La, Alahayna, wa Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. Hearty shalom to the elect. All right, it's your brother Karat back on another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Al Shai. And it's more war talk, okay? Because that's what's going on in the world right now geopolitically. There's also uproars of the people. All right, there's also a digital infrastructure being set up, okay? But this topic is about war, okay? So this is 2nd Esdras 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. All right, and the Lord is going to visit this place, and when he does bring judgment upon this place, all right, it's not going to be a good visitation as what the church or Christianity or any other religion would try to explain it to you. Salakia, this is verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. All right, I'm gonna read verse 5. For as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Okay, and the end of America is coming to fruition. All right, with these wars, this regime change. Okay, that Donald Trump is invoking. All right, for resources, disguised as a war on drugs. Okay, is causing uproars of individuals in that place in Venezuela. Okay. You know what? I want to go back and see if I can get it. Let's see, and then I'll go back to that. I don't know if I'll find it. Let me see, it might be here. Yep, right here. Uproars of the people. It says civil war fears grows as heavily armed far left militias take over the streets of Caracas. All right. It says fears that a civil war could erupt in Venezuela are growing after heavily armed far-left militias took over the streets of Caracas and their military seen deserting their post. Interim President Delcy Rodriguez is walking a tightrope, an expert has warned, as she tries to balance hardliners within the government in Venezuela and the looming threat of further U.S. intervention. Collectivos, a far-left, heavily armed militia, are on the streets of Caracas, and the tensions in the country is sky high. Gunfire erupted last night near the presidential palace, although Venezuela's Ministry of Communications and Information later claimed it was the police firing at drones that were flying without permission. It comes after Maduro confronted a protester who was incarcerated by his regime and gave a shocking remark to a judge. All right. This is just a little snippet of uproars of the people. Okay. All right. But that just goes into what some of the 2nd Esdras had said. Let me see if I can find that article again. Oh, here we go. Total war. Iranian leader issues warning. All right, something like this came out maybe last week, where he was saying that he was at war with all three: Europe, United States, and Israel. I'm gonna read a little bit of this. It's a short article. All right, it says here: total war. Iranian leader issuing warning. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has warned that Iran is engaged in a conflict with the United States, Israel, and Europe. He accused Western powers of attempting to weaken the country. Pezeshkian, I know I'm not saying his name right, noted that the current confrontation is more complex than the 1980s Iran-Iraq war. In my opinion, the guy said, Pezeshkian stated, in my opinion, we are at total war with the United States, Israel, and Europe. Let's look at the word war. It says a conflict, a campaign, a state of armed conflict between different nations or states or different groups within a nation or state. All right. And sometimes the war doesn't have to be physical yet. All right. It could be political. It could be financial. Okay. In some instances that I'm aware of. Okay. All right. But here it says war with the United States, Israel, and Europe. They want to bring our country to its knees. If one understands it well, the war is far more complex and difficult than that war. All right, and they want to destabilize the Iranian government's nuclear capabilities. Okay, but while the United States and Europe and whatever other NATO countries and Israel, all right, can have all these high nuclear capabilities, all right? But nonetheless, the individuals of this country, they're not backing down, all right? Pezeshkian argued that Iran now faces pressure across multiple fronts rather than a conventional battlefield. He claimed that the Iran's military emerged stronger after clashes with Israel, all right, and they were bombing each other, all right. But this is just more war, okay? More war. This is the point of me showing you is more war, okay? Let me see. Here goes another one about war. North Korea launches ballistic missile towards the sea. It's the Lord's army. He's getting his army ready, okay? Let me get the scripture. This is Mark chapter 13 and verse 7. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Be thou not troubled, for such things must needs be. But the end shall not be yet. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. And these are the beginning of sorrows, okay? The beginning of sorrows is coming up. Troubles is in the world. Let's look at this word, troubles. More will is to be edifying as possible. The word for troubles in the Greek.
Strong's G 5016. Tarache. Tarache.
All right, the word for trouble is tarache. It says disturbance, commotion, metaphorically a confusing sedition, okay? And let me go here to 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, I think it is. This is 2nd Esdras 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their way. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able to, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled. All right, and trouble went into commotion, disturbances, seditions, like the word up there had read in verse 16. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but they shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's what's coming, along with war. The Lord said it himself, is going to be troubling times, okay? All right, the beginning of sorrows, famines. That's why people are going to be running up in your house to take your food, all right? Let me see. Let me go back to this article. My phone is about to die. It says, North Korea launches ballistic missile towards the sea. This is the Lord preparing his army, getting them arrows ready. That's going to shoot over here to America, okay? This is Jeremiah 50. And I'm going to start at 22. A sound of battle is in the land and great destruction, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? All right, you hear in the news that Donald Trump wants to take over Greenland. Greenland is a NATO nation, and they have this clause within their pact that if there's an attack on one NATO nation, there's an attack on all of them, right? So there's going to be some negative consequences if that happens, right? But it says here, I've laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware, thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. Yahweh hath opened his armory and brought forth the weapons of his indignation, for this is the work of Yahweh, power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans, okay? And let me see, come against her from the uttermost border, open up her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly, let nothing be left. And that's what's going to happen. Nothing's going to be left to here, all right, with all these war talks, all right? Donald Trump and his pride, America and their pride, the Edomites and their pride, okay? That's part of the snare that the Lord has set for Babylon, pride. Anyway, North Korea launches ballistic missiles towards the sea. North Korea launched multiple ballistic missiles toward its eastern waters Sunday, its neighbors said, just hours before South Korean president left for China for talks expected to cover North Korea's nuclear program. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a statement it detected several ballistic missile launches from North Korea's capital region around 7:50 a.m. It said its missiles flew about 900 kilometers, and that South Korea and U.S. authorities were analyzing details of the launches. So this is just the Lord preparing his armory, okay? That's a lot more, but my phone is at 2%. It says South Korea's defense ministry noted launches violated U.S. Secretary Council resolutions that ban any ballistic activities by North Korea. It urged North Korea to cease provocative actions immediately and respond to South Korea's push to restart talks and restore peace on the Korean peninsula. All right, and there's not going to be any peace. All right, let me get this and then I'll close out. Peace and safety. I know it's in 1 Thessalonians. All right, this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with a child, and they shall not escape. All right, that's it though. But war is coming. All right, more war talks. More rules edified to the next time. Shalom.